Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today I will be looking at Series 6 Episode 3 of Line of Duty, which of course aired last night. Again, another really good episode. I really think that the series is really getting off to a good start now. We're really getting into it and all the rest of it, and I'm just really enjoying what we've got going. I mean, there was a great action set piece last night involving of course a police car going into the river. We had a few more developments with Joanne and Steve and all the rest of it. So yeah, it was marvellous. So of course at the end of episode 2 last week, we found out that Joanne was in league with the OCG. She framed Farida for Farida for the burner phones that were found in her flat. She then went to prison instead of Joanne, and Joanne went free, and we find out she's working with Ryan, who of course was part of the OCG and killed John Corbett in Series 5, and they're working together. So it's very interesting, and it was kind of like going, okay, so we know Joanne's been copper, what are we going to see in episode 3? And there wasn't really a lot of her kind of doing a lot of things that would be considered bent, as it were. She was kind of being a normal police officer. So for example, when her and Kate are speaking to Terry Boyle, you actually see that I think she is a genuinely a nice person. I think she's been pulled into this OCG world not by her own choosing. I know I've seen a lot of theories saying that she's Tommy's daughter. That's one theory, which does kind of make sense. Her dad would be involved in that, so in some way her family or her being involved would kind of be a necessity for her to kind of live her life and be in safety of a gang, would be for her to be the part of the same thing that her dad is. But I liked that interview scene where Joanne and Kate are talking to Terry, because Terry's getting stressed and Joanne can see that. But there is also a part of me that was thinking, okay, yeah, Kate is probably being a bit forceful here, and like Joanne quite rightly says, you're used to dealing with police officers, not normal members of the public. But there is a part of me that thought, yeah, while that is a really nice thing that Joanne did that because she could see that Terry was distressed, there is another part of me that thought, or was she actually doing that because she didn't want Terry to reveal something? I don't know, I'm still of two minds about it, but I still think that Joanne is a good person who has just, not by her own choosing, become involved in the operations of the OCG. And I think this is what they usually like to do with a lot of the kind of like bent coppers, as it were. Like they are good people who just make mistakes and they just keep on lying and making the situation worse for themselves. But we'll have to see. I mean, we've got another 4 episodes of Series 6 yet, so we'll have to see what they do next. I loved how we got a bit more with Steve this week. Of course, Steve last week went to go and see Steph, John Corbett's wife, and he had a back spasm and he couldn't sit down. She then went to the car to get his medication, and she found loads and loads of pain relief medicine and all that kind of thing. And then this week we find out that Steph has told Hastings about what's going on with Steve, and that he was taking all these things. And so what does Hastings do? Hastings is a kind of a warning to Steve, because every police department has to do a routine drugs check, make sure police aren't under the influence. And we actually have Hastings say, I made sure you weren't part of it this time because you've got to go off and do this interview, or you've got to go and speak to someone. And then of course Steve goes to see Steph, he confronts her about it, and she says she didn't realise she'd done anything wrong. But as we quite rightly found out, Hastings was doing it as a warning to Steve, like, get yourself like on the job, get yourself back in focus, because it is a very interesting thing, because not only has Hastings lost Kate to another department, he doesn't want to lose Steve. Steve is a vital asset, has been very loyal to Ted, so it's going to be very hard for him to lose another member of his team that he trusts so much. And I think it shows that this is a warning, you need to sort yourself out, otherwise this is going to happen. And of course Steve had to do a drugs test, and he had unfortunately taken more back medication, because we do see, I think, a day where he doesn't do it, he closes the cupboard, but then there's one night he's drinking alcohol and he just has loads, and it's a really heartbreaking scene, because you think he's in immense pain and he does need medical help, but he knows if he gets that medical help, he won't be able to do his job, which is pretty much his life, which I found a really interesting idea, and I think is something that will definitely be developed throughout the series. But I also still am getting the sense that Series 6 is going to be the last we're going to see of these three, and I'm really worried about that, because there's always these references about Ted leaving in the series, like for example when he goes to see his boss, and she says the whole H thing, leave it alone, don't let your final years be a kind of sort of a witch hunt. And you had the great line where she says, where Hastings is like, I'm the epitome of an old battle, which was so good and such a brilliant line and just amazing. But I am very interested to see where the series goes. Oh my goodness, we didn't talk about the police cast. So of course Ryan was part of the police squad that was taking Terry home, and he was with a woman called, I can't find her name now, he was with another woman in the car. He was in the back seat with Terry, she was driving, and they're driving along. They go, he basically says, oh, there's an alternative security route that we have to take now to get him back to his premises, which of course is just an excuse for Ryan to basically bump off Terry, because he's a witness. He'll basically give information about the OCG that Ryan doesn't want out there. They go to a lake, he gets the woman to open his window so that he's able to escape, and then he drives the car into the lake. He manages to get out, and then just as he's about to reach the shore, out pops the woman. And of course he has to get rid of her because she's a witness, so he drowns her. Then as he gets back to the lake, Terry Boyle pops up. So again, his whole plan was ruined. This is now looking like incredibly suspicious. They get to the shore, and Kate was actually following them, which I thought was a really clever idea, because if we didn't have Kate following them, we would not have a good story. So yeah, Kate follows them, she sees what's happening, and then she calls the police and backup and all the rest of it, and they get it all sorted out. And then the team arrive, they come and sort it out, everyone's looking after everyone. And then as the car is being lifted out of the water and dropped to the ground, Kate notices that the back window is open. And so of course this sort of arouses her suspicions, quite rightly. And then of course when they go back to AC-12, because she has to go and give information to them, and you have this really awkward scene between her and Hastings where of course they're not getting on, and it's quite clear that their relationship is very frayed and is broken at the moment. But I really liked the scene where all three of them were together in Hastings' office. It really sort of showed that there is still respect there, but I think there is an element of, there is still an air of animosity. There's something still in the air that needs to be resolved. Because of course Kate gives information about what happened. She believes it was an OCG attempt to get rid of Terry Boyle, so it's helpful to the AC-12 case against Joanne. Then Kate goes with Steve outside to his desk, and they look up Ryan Pilkington, and of course they find out that he was part of the OCG. He was involved as a kid and tried to chop Steve's fingers off. So it's the whole thing of now AC-12 are aware that they have got a former OCG person in the police force and that they've got to keep an eye on him. And it's so fascinating because it really just shows there's like, well, what are they going to do? I was certainly not expecting them to reveal that Ryan was part of the OCG in episode 3. I thought that was going to come later, but I was like, okay, right, so there's bigger stuff still to come in this series then, if that's already been revealed. And then later on you had so I can just get up his name. We of course Joanne basically pins some blame on, where is he? Ian Buckles, who I've never liked. He's an absolute knobhead of a police officer ever since he was in series 4, I think was his first appearance. And basically Joanne kind of gives information, because Buckles has always been a bit of a shifty character. We've never known a lot about him. He pops up here and there in the series, and it's always a kind of thing of, oh, could he be the fourth H, as it were, or who is he? But it isn't, unfortunately. I don't think it's him. I really don't think he's the 4th member of H. I mean, I really do not know. I mean, but of course he got arrested at the end of the episode for obstructing police business, so we'll have to see what happens next week. But of course the episode ends with Joanne at her computer messaging who we can only assume to be H. As you said, it's all sorted now. Whoever could it be? It could be H he's talking to, it could be a member of the OCG. We just really do not know at all. And it's interesting because I really don't know where the series is going to go. I have a feeling and an idea of some of the directions the series will take, but I'm just excited. I think it's just that excitement of thinking we've got 4 more episodes of this and we just don't know a thing. I think that's what I love about Line of Duty, is that every episode ends with leaving you wanting more, and I think that's the best television, when it ends and you think, oh for goodness sake, I've got to wait a week. So it's brilliant when television does that, because it really plays with you, and it's that whole water cooler thing. So like loads of people will be going into work today or talk to members of the family going, oh, did you watch Line of Duty? And I think television we need something like Line of Duty every 2 years, because you need that sort of thing that does take you away from reality for an hour, and you are so immersed from the moment you see Previously, and you hear that dun 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 dun, and you hear that music, you're like, right, let's go, what's happening? And it's just brilliant. Even the Previously, when they do a recap, is interesting, because it's like, it gives you hints as to what's going to be covered in this episode, and then when they show clips from past series, you're like, oh hello, is this person coming into it? But I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But no, very good episode, really enjoyed it, and yeah, really look forward to the rest of the series. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to the 500 plus people who watched my review of episode 2. Very kind of you. I mean, I was certainly not expecting that. Let's hope we can get just as many views for this one, if not more. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you, bye bye.